All right, welcome to another episode of Fight Stories. It's me, John Moses, and my
And
man
me,
Tyler Morrison. Yeah,
Tyler Morrison.
the Sunshine Boys. The two guys like to do the worst in the sun, still soaking up the rays.
Oh yeah. 40 proofing it up.
Oh yeah, 40 proof. That's evening wear for me, buddy. I gotta get that. I gotta get that 75 and up.
Does it go that high?
Well, fuck yeah. Oh yeah. You you protect yourself with alcohol so you don't feel the current, so you don't feel the
Yeah,
pain.
yeah. I'm always sweating.
Yeah. All right. So what's going down? Your new part-time job just keeps on paying.
Yeah, it's been all right. With the golf bets, I've been 3 out of the last 4 weeks I've won.
But
So
it's not that you've just won. You're popping down $20-$50 and pulling in $1,000.
yeah. My buddy Trevor Crane. Gotta give a shout out to Trevor Crane. I don't know shit about golf. Just
Right?
Trevor Crane
Except that
knows.
it sucks.
Yeah, well, that's what I met him through one of our season 2 guests,
Yeah.
Cory Mcdonald, the prison guard. That's
Yeah.
who Trevor's a prison guard as well, or used to be. He's
Nice.
retired now, but he's from Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, same hometown as Terry Ryan.
Ooh.
Yeah,
We got a couple of pearls from Mount Pearl.
yeah, lots of 6 degrees of separation going on.
I've never been to Newfoundland, man. I would love to go.
Me neither. We got to go there. We got to do a Fight Stories live there. I know.
Yeah,
Terry,
definitely.
Terry
Dude,
would
I
like
feel
to
like
go.
Newfoundland's a place to do a Fight Stories live. You end up like actually commentating on fights before the show or after, whatever.
Oh yeah,
Or else, like, tell us your fight story, Newfoundland. It's like, fuck, let's take part.
that would be a good time for sure,
Yeah,
for sure. And they don't have a ton of stand-up comedy out there either, so
right.
it'd be legit. They'd probably think we were good.
Hey, Newfoundland's in the know. They know what's happening.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. They
Yeah. Well, that's beauty.
couple good fighters out of Newfoundland actually. Well, I think Ryan Clough from Newfoundland. He could really fucking throw from San Jose. Played for San Jose Sharks, and
Right.
I think
Buddy, never mind that. I bet you there's just a ton. I'm sure there's a couple NHL guys who can throw bombs out of Newfoundland, but I bet you there are just a ton of amazing street fight stories.
oh yeah, for
Newfoundland would be
sure.
a good place to be like, you spend 3 days there just walking around getting stories, and then you do a mini season just on Newfoundland.
Oh, big time, big
Fucking
time.
Jelly Bean Square. That's all I know about Newfoundland is stupid Jelly Bean Square. Yeah, but it would be great. It would be great. It'd be better if I was off the wagon, but
There's
I might.
always time. There's
Yeah.
always time.
I'll get into a new fresh fight story for you boys.
I don't know if I want to see the John Moses off the wagon. I didn't know you when you're out of control.
Oh yeah, the dick will be coming out. Um, all right. So let's get into the to the vid, this week's
Oh,
vid.
sure.
I
Yeah, so
Okay, go ahead. Well, I was just going to say, I was on another hockey fight board, one of these boards that we follow, and obviously you follow much more closely, but somebody said what was Lindros's best fight. And it dawned on me, I realized I never even saw Lindros get in a fight. I've always saw him mowing guys down on the ice, but I never saw him in a fight. And I said, Lindros is in a fight? And then people were like, buddy, get a clue. Like, what are you doing? Go on YouTube. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like Eric Lindros, for being such a highly touted draft pick when he was a kid, he was kicking the shit out of the guys in the OHL. There was only
Yeah.
a couple dudes that could really stack up to him. I know, like Louis DeBrusque, and there was a little bit of competition out there still because the OHL was tough as nails,
Right.
but Lindros was dominating. And
Right. Right.
at 16 years old, when he came into the league at, I guess he would have been 18. But at 16, he was on the World Juniors Pretty sure he was on World Juniors. When did he play in the Canada Cup? It was like that might have been it. He was really young when he played with like Gretzky and all those guys in the Canada Cup, but he's fit right in because he's just a machine. Right. He was a man when he was a kid.
Right.
And so he was able to come into that league.
Dude, I've never seen a more dominant presence on the ice. I missed Gretzky like in his prime, and I watched Lemieux, and Lemieux would always dangle and hold the puck for a long time and control the play. But as far as like straight dominating, impacting the game the second his fucking skate hits the ice, I've never seen anybody before or since do it the way Lindros did it, and it was with his physical presence.
For a stretch there, Lindros was the most powerful, dangerous player in the league. Like he did have some good players with him,
sure,
in Philly, but he was the stud.
Oh yeah.
But before him, I would say Cam Neely was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, Neely was good. Like, Neely was good, but Neely never put the points up that Lindros put up.
Dude, Neely had 50 goals in 50 games type shit.
Did he?
Yeah. Check into
yeah, I would but Lindros was like top 5 scoring all the time. Was Neely getting there? Maybe he was a top 10er.
Neely was pretty damn good. We'd have to look. Yeah. But both guys, powerful, dominant, great scorers, good, really good fighters, amazing hitters, elite, and careers cut short by injury.
Right.
So like what could have been too would have been huge for both those guys.
Yeah. I would have, in retrospect, obviously at the time you're rooting, you're hoping anything the Leafs can do to stop them would be enough. But in retrospect, I would have loved to have seen Lindros got a cup,
Oh yeah, totally.
Especially with the Leafs, but even in his diminished role, it would have been fine.
The way he played the game, though, was just so ruthless. He'd run guys right over, and then someone's gonna fight him.
Yeah, and then he stepped up. He stepped up and took the bait. So the fight that you told me to watch was Lindros Simon. So why don't we cue it up? You got it ready?
Yeah, for sure. So let's cue this up. This is Chris Simon is in elite top 10 all-time fighter. Top 10, top 15. A little bit of scrum in front of the net, big cross-check, and there they go.
Oh, yeah. And he eats four beauties right out the gate. Doesn't seem to faze him.
Him flying right away, and then Lindros gets loose.
Yeah.
Check the jersey a little bit, gives him some.
You know who Lindros reminds me of? Is Brock Lesnar. Because he has these short little rabbit punches, but he's just so big and strong. Like his punches don't look like they're doing much, but man, I'm sure they're devastating.
There's power behind it, right? Well, this fight, when Lindros like opens up a little bit, he clocks Simon with two good ones.
Yeah.
His head snapped back.
Yeah.
And then it was down to the face. He didn't drop him, but he certainly equalized that fight and then gets a couple on the ground. I got to give the slight edge to Lindros in that one.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he definitely, just had the sheer strength. You got to know, oh man, that place. How soon after Lindros basically refused to play in Quebec was this?
I think that was very soon. It was probably in his rookie year.
Wow.
Maybe second year, but it was certainly not long after, because remember the Nordiques moved to.
That's right, Colorado within right.
That. So yeah, it was
and then the pieces that they got for Lindros helped them win the cup. So that was,
I mean, we'd have to check it out and can let us know if we're idiots, but that could have even been his first game.
Wow. What a villain. Quebec. What a villain.
Oh, I know. If he came in and did it like that with Simon in his first game back, I mean, they were hating him. And it all kind of came out in the wash. It wasn't, I know that It was over the him not playing there was it had something to do with the owner of the Quebec Nordiques.
Right.
Pretty sure he said something rude to Eric's mom.
Well, or that could be the PR campaign that they started pushing to control the damage that was done, because initially it was that he was just being a spoiled brat. That was kind of like
They
the
never said anything
widespread.
about it. The Lindrosses, I'm pretty sure, never said anything about that until much more recent.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Well, I'll have to ask my good buddy Paul Stewart to see what he thinks.
Oh yeah. Well, he played for Quebec, right?
Right. That's right.
And
That's right.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Stewart. I don't think Stewart's a fan of Lindros.
I don't want to open up that can of worms, man.
Can of worms.
So yeah, that's like Eric Lindros going against Chris Simon. That's a good example of how good of a fighter Eric Lindros was, and if he wanted to just focus solely on fighting and be a pure enforcer,
or more, right, or at least more of it, you know.
He could have been an elite all-time enforcer if he wanted to. He was just so good he didn't have to. But I mean, he held his own with McSorley too. He mostly fought kind of second-tier guys, but when he stepped up against an elite fighter, he handled his business very well. He showed that he was able to hang with the big boys too.
What do you put McSorley all time? Top 50?
Where do I have McSorley all time? He'd probably be at the late in my top 10 or top 15 as well.
Right.
You could put him anywhere. I don't know. He fought some serious battles.
Yeah.
One of the best marathon fighters ever. The way he could last in a fight, guys would gas out and then he could take over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look at that war that he had with Bob Probert. The Probert-McSorley fight, the marathon bout, when Probert was with Detroit and McSorley was with Pittsburgh, it's one of the greatest fights of all time, if not the best fight of all time in the NHL. It was just so many good shots from two of the best. When it's two of the best, you know.
I remember Clark going McSorley and fucking hanging in there with them, dude, just throwing bombs.
Yeah, but I mean, Clark got the start, and he landed a missile on McSorley's eye, and then McSorley sort of took over, and I think Clark was kind of gassed from the shift and the start of the fight. And McSorley took over the fight. I mean, most guys I think end up in retrospect giving it to McSorley, but I don't know. I'm a Leaf fan. Fuck
yeah, but still, you know, Clark.
It's an amazing fight.
McSorley can take it. For Clark to step right in there and do as well as he did is a win in and of itself.
It's an amazing bout. You respect both guys, but I do think it's one of those fights where if a guy does more damage with one of those punches, and the other guy just kind of outpoints him, who really won the fight? But I do think McSorley took control, and Clark didn't want any more. You kind of gotta.
Yeah, well, don't ever say that. Don't ever say that in the Moses household.
Yeah,
Ken Moses will not take kindly to that type of talk.
I'm kind of thinking about editing it out of the episode already. I'm such a huge fan.
All right. So, okay, before we get into our episode, by the way, we're speaking with comedian Paul Virzi. Virzi's a real funny dude, man. It's doing a ton of stuff. Had a Comedy Central special, opens for Burr all over the world, Madison Square Garden, you know. He's having a gay old time doing comedy.
Got a podcast, The Virzi Effect.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, he's pumping that. And then in his YouTube channel. So we're going to talk to him. But before we get into that, we got a couple of sponsors to thank. Something old is new. We got a mid-season pickup. Our old friends at Absolute Nature are now back for as a mid-season sponsor. So we want to thank them. Obviously, some of you listeners out there have been hitting them up because they called us and, you know, apparently they were happy with the numbers. So the only thing that has changed, still use Goon Squad as a promo code. The only thing that has changed is you don't get 20% anymore. You now get 45% off for our listeners. That's a huge discount. So that's awesome. And if you don't know the product, Absolute Nature is all organic CBD, so you can feel like a vegan without having to tuck your penis. And I'll let you talk about the other one, because that way you can pump the big shirt.
Yeah, for sure. And also, Absolute Nature CBD probably going to leave us after this episode. AbsoluteNatureCBD.com. Check it out.
That's right.
And then obviously we got Uncle Ronnie's Teabag, UncleRonnie'sTeabag.com. We got the Fight Stories merch. You see these logos behind us. You can get shirts with the Fight Stories logo, but also we got our Trevor Gillies collaboration shirt, Punches Aren't Vitamins, for sale on there, and guys are eating it up. I mean, we're getting tons of people buying these shirts and sending us photos of them rocking them. They look sick and they're super comfortable. I mean,
the design is sick. Jeff did a great job over there on that.
Jeff from BaddestShirt.com, and he's an amazing artist. He also did the design for Fight Stories logo. So I mean, check it out, get on there, and support the tribe. I mean, this is what it's all about, you know?
Yeah, that is the easiest, coolest, and probably or at least you get something for supporting the podcast is to buy one of those shirts. So either the logo or the new one, and we're reaching out, and we're gonna have a couple of other shirts with other guests. So this is the first one, and it's awesome, and they're flying off the shelf. The old Islanders fans loves them. Trevor Gillies people love them. So.
Mm-hmm. So UncleRonnie'sTeabag.com, hit it up. But this season, it doesn't disappoint, man. So far, I think everyone's been a great guest, and this episode we got right now, it's right up there, man. It's
I love the non-fighters. And they're usually comics, but who doesn't love a good knockout story when you're on the other end of it, in retrospect.
For sure.
All right. So check out Paul Virzi, and that's it. All right, boys. Welcome back to Fight Stories. This is John Moses with my co-host Tyler Morrison. Still quarantined up in Canada. And today, buddy of mine, very funny comedian, Paul Virzi. Welcome to the show. Thanks for doing it.
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. So before we launch into the fights, you just did a weekend in Arizona, right?
I did, yeah.
How was that?
It was, it's funny, all these comics, everybody's asking, as would I. It's funny because I just got an email yesterday, actually, and the email said, hey, man, you got out of here in the nick of time. They're putting mandates now, and it's getting pretty serious there. I was fortunate enough to the club that I was doing. I was kind of in a suburb of the city, so the numbers where I weren't as crazy, and I was protected. Also, the only reason why I went was because I have antibodies. I had it.
You had it.
I had it in early March and early April. Late March, early April. I had it. And so once I knew that I was okay, and I talked to my doctor and stuff, and there wasn't really cases of people that, even the people that got it again, there's been no proof or cases that somebody that got it again, they're saying that was not infectious. So they're saying that even if I got infected again, I couldn't give it to somebody. So we talked about it. Then I had my agency call up down there, because people were like, dude, you're going to fucking Arizona tomorrow, and have you looked at the news? And I'm like, yeah, so my manager was like, let's talk to them. So my manager and William Morris actually called hospitals in Phoenix, and we're talking to hospitals and the club. And it was kind of like when it was a little bit of it started to, but
it was starting to creep up. Right
now, it's like, dude, they're shutting shit down. So,
well, that's why I wanted to ask you last week, but even in a week, things have changed so drastically. I want, exactly what you're talking about is you got out of there in the nick of time, but you're a little bulletproof, I guess.
Is it second wave down there right now that's happening?
No. That's Arizona. This is the first time it's starting to hit like the Southwest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Because when I was in Edmonton doing shows when it first started in Canada, and like it's the same thing, like just get the fuck out. But it was just starting in Edmonton, and that's like, but everywhere else, everyone else is shutting down.
But Canada is also a little, is pretty light, in comparison.
Oh, compared to what's going on right now in the States, of course. Yeah. Toronto's the big one in Canada, right? I was coming back to Toronto. So I was leaving like the healthy city to go to the shit city.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because like I beat it. I shouldn't say that I beat it. I had somebody said the best thing about my COVID-19 experience was they were like, you had a sample platter. And I did. I had a lot of symptoms, but in weird ways. Like it was almost like I had a cough that was lingering for a long time, but I didn't need to be hospitalized. I had aches and chills, but they weren't really brutal. So it was like I had all kinds of stuff, lost sense of smell and taste. And that's what definitely gave us the indication that I had it. And then the test confirmed it. My wife and children also had it. So,
how did the kids, how were your kids? Were they like not affected by it?
So, so the doctor was like, listen, keep an eye on them, but kids are kind of really doing well with it. My daughter almost showed 0. And my son, there was a couple days where my son was just a little funky. He was tired. He was laying down. He felt a little out of it and then fine. So my daughter maybe one day felt like 99 fever, which they don't even consider, and then nothing. So, my wife and I were I had more symptoms. My wife just lost sense of smell and taste.
Wow. That's actually reassuring that it ran through your whole house, but the kids are okay. Because that's the big concern, right?
That was really the scary part. I mean, as much as I was like, dude, I don't want to wake up and need a fucking ventilator tonight. But once that I started going days and not needing that, I'm just worried about looking at my boy and my girl, making sure that they were good or whatever. It did feel good to be back on stage, but I will tell you that the people in Arizona do not give a fuck, and a lot of them, I shouldn't say all of them, dude, they were like, I was getting like shamed for wearing a mask, dude. Like, dude, I swear to God, I went in the hotel. I went in the hotel that they put me in, and I literally saw, I'm not making this up for the show, this is true shit. I saw like a 65-year-old couple, like almost like nudging each other, like and I was all fucking masked up, and they're just like, they look at it so differently. But now that I think the hospitals are filling up there, they're starting to realize. And I told the crowd, I go, half you people are going to get sick, and I hope they don't. But it was definitely something to see where they just didn't seem like it bothered them.
Yeah, my buddy's out in Vegas, and I was just on his Facebook. He's like, "Fuck you and fuck your masks," and all his buddies were chiming in like, "Yeah, fuck all those masks." Like, what has to happen, you fucks?
Well, Rob Mayhew went down to was the Tiger? What's the show? The Tiger Show?
Tiger King.
Tiger King, the Tiger King Zoo. Yeah. He went there and he was wearing a mask, and he looked around and no one's wearing a mask. He takes his mask off because he's just
he slings it. Yeah.
Well, because the crazy thing is like people are politicizing it, and it's almost like if you wear a mask, you're a liberal and you're this and that, and if you don't wear a mask, you support Trump and this and that. And it's like, dude, how about the fact that people are dying and just wear a fucking mask?
Yeah. Dude, it's so, even if it's wrong, it's the easiest fucking thing to do.
That's
like, who gives a fuck?
Right. Even if it is, and they're just like, hey man, another 2 months when you're out in public, just throw a mask on and you could potentially save somebody's life. The fact that people are like, no man, fuck that. It's like, that's crazy to me.
Like 4 months ago, I think if you took a fucking survey in the world or in America and you said, hey man, if you could save 100,000 American lives by wearing a mask and convincing your family to, would you do it? Who the fuck wouldn't say yes?
Exactly. It's really silly.
But people dig their heels in, and it's like there's no going back.
That's exactly right, John. And I think the fact that people want to be right. And, I have family members, dude, that I love dearly that are just like, man, I'm done. I had enough. And I'm going, what do you mean? Like, it's still out there. So, and then, you know, they get into the thing where they think, you know, I think that they're doing things that are blown out of proportion. And I'm just like, and I love this person. And I'm going, man, just, you know, and it's like, I don't have time to look, as long as me and my family are
I
okay.
know. And that's what you kind of got to do. You just got to like remain vigilant. My dad's up in Canada. He's good. He's, you know, probably not going to get it. And my wife's parents had it, almost died, survived. I'm healthy. My wife's healthy. I've like upped the cardio since this whole thing's been going down. Kind of everybody in my immediate circle is like, I'm okay. You know, like, if, you know,
Yeah.
But I'm still doing it because it's the fucking right thing to do, you know?
Dude, absolutely. Even when I performed, they had it set up where, so I wasn't really close to the crowd. Like the way it was is like my feet were at their heads and they were a little back. Like the stage is great. Each comedian had their own microphone that they cleaned the parts every time. So we were doing that. And then I stayed in a hotel. If I did anything outside, I was outside far from people. So I feel like the one thing that scared me was the airplanes, because both airplanes were really busy. Luckily, nobody directly next to me, but the airplanes were like, you know, even from New York out there, I was just like, the airplane scared me because it was such small, close quarters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. You're like one of the few people I know or have even seen who's performed, you know, during this time, like other than some weird, like I did a show in a fucking diner parking lot on the back of a pickup, but like actually in a club for a weekend, like you're one of the few. So,
no, dude, they asked me, they asked me, and I'm like, I mean, zero disrespect to any comedian trying to make money. I don't feel like I'm better than that shit. But when I saw motherfuckers in rubber gloves standing on trucks, I was like, I just can't do it.
Yeah, I did it for the experience, and like immediately walking up to it, I was like, "Oh man, what the fuck have I done? Ate shit." And then right after I finished, I was like, "Oh, I got to do this again."
Dude, we're already insecure about audience members that are real. The last thing I want to do is wonder why a fucking, you know, Dodge Ram is not flashing their lights at me.
I know. Dude, it's crazy. Like you tell a joke and you start looking in car windows and you're seeing people like
the wipers are
going. It was so fucking, oh yeah, it was so crazy, dude.
I killed that Sentra.
Everything is on those four cars in the front, you know?
That's great, man.
Cool. So, all right. So what about the fights? I feel like you're a guy that just based on your voice alone has seen some fights.
Yeah, you know what? I was the type of dude that I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to I kind of was just like to tell stories and laugh and joke. But if I got upset enough, if like something happened where I was just like, and you mix that with alcohol, right? Right. So a lot of the fights, all right, so if you want a fight story, this is actually a pretty fucking nuts one. My buddies went to college up at SUNY Plattsburgh, and I went up to visit them, and we were hanging out, and they were in a fraternity. So we went to the fraternity house, and we're drinking, and we're doing shots, and then we go back to where their dorms were. And they're sitting there, and they're rolling blunts, and they're smoking, and then people kind of just like are outside the dorms after the party, right? And they're outside the dorms before going into the dorms to really smoke and chill after the party. And we're there. And this was the time, where, you remember when having, like, not like my beard now, but you remember back in the day, and I'm sure they did this shit in Canada, where you had like the little line.
Yeah. The Puerto Rican lineup. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the line and then the thing. So my buddy,
the chin strap.
Yeah, but it was like a thin
pencil
chin
thin
strap. Yeah, pencil chin strap. And my Italian buddy Joe, he had it really thin, and I loved the kid. He was a year older than me in high school, so like I just loved hanging out with the kid and stuff. And he was there, and we're all outside hanging out. and there, a big kind of brawl starts breaking out. Everybody, there's like almost like a melee. And I'm there just visiting my friend. I'm drinking. I'm hammered. And everybody, there's like a thing going on. And I'll never forget, dude, this tall dude, about 6'2", blonde hair, walks up to my friend and people are pushing. And I'm kind of just like, oh, shit. But I'm drunk. So I'm like, I got my buddy's back. And the guy goes, hey, man. He goes, how about I take a fucking razor blade and shave that stupid fucking shit off your face and like do something. And I literally, like a movie, I take a couple steps in the circle. It was like a fucking circle of people. And there were like girls at the door. I'm like, oh my God, shit's about to go down. And I go, you got to fucking do that to me first. Come with your knife to me. And this motherfucker goes, what motherfucker? And is rushing me, right? And I immediately it went from scared to defense in literally 2 seconds. And I just timed his head. And I timed him, and he came, and I just went, bang, right? And I caught him, and he went down. And you literally, like a movie, heard like 50 people go, oh, shit. So when I tried to get on top of him, though.
Yeah.
When I tried to get on top of him, he got my shirt, and he almost, dude, this story could have been, he almost, like he tried to pull me where I would have went down, but I spun and got back on top of him. And I'm holding this kid's blonde hair, and I'm just teeing off. And they're trying to, and I'm teeing off. And I remember I was so scared, dude. Like the guy would have probably like, I'll be the first to say I got lucky. It's not me being a badass. This is me getting lucky. I was athletic and fast. So when I hit him, I definitely timed it and it was a good move. But like the fact that I positioned after rolling around on top and I was able to hit him, and I'll never forget, my buddy pulled me off, and as he's dragging me out, he goes, dude, you just beat the shit out of that kid. And I go like, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I did. So we go, so then all of a sudden, now I went from like, now I'm talking a little shit.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm like, in my mind, I almost lied to myself that I was a good fighter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh shit, no one's fucking with me, right? And which is ridiculous. Dude, I'm 5'8", you know?
Yeah.
So we go back in the dorms, and the whole talk was, yo, your boy did this, and I'm rolling a blunt, and like all these, I remember people were coming in like, yo, you're the man, and it was so nuts. And then the next day, and I found out the next day, the 6'2" guy that I fought, he was by the way, so mind you now, I'm a 19-year-old, I'm a 19-year-old kid, maybe 20, but I think 19. Come to find out he was a 25-year-old sophomore, and he was like, the next day, like walking around campus going like, fuck that kid, that was bullshit, like, and just talking shit. And I remember getting out of that weekend feeling like, wow, everybody feels like I'm the man, but when he pulled my shirt down, it could have been the opposite way.
Yeah.
It's like the guy that hangs out at high school for way too long finally goes to fucking college. Let me give this college thing a try, you know?
Yeah, dude. It was a good feeling, but it was also like, it let me know how quick things could escalate. And if I was on the opposite side of that, how quick I could have gotten my ass kicked.
Oh yeah. But then, you know, you get your ass kicked, you live to see another day, you know? But also to stay in the pocket and time that out when the guy's running at you.
Yeah.
You know, that takes a little presence of mind not everybody has.
It's good instincts.
Yeah.
I did have one that like, it's hard for me to talk about on this podcast because it was a touchy thing with the family. But I did have one where somebody came at me and said, what the fuck are you going to do? And went at me. And I did the same thing. So I'm definitely like, I tell you, I have a nice right. I have a nice right that I could time. But dude, when adrenaline goes, dude, it's funny. It's like, I'm the type of guy, dude, even like arguing with my wife, guys, I'm the type like, for me to scream and be like, fuck this, I'm done, it takes a lot. And it's the same with the physical thing. You know, if you push me or then once it gets to that thing, then it's on. Right.
My wife shooed me today and then caught me with a little swat in the beak, and I felt the old right loading up. It's like, don't fuck with the hair trigger, wife.
Yeah, because because your right doesn't know it's a like it's not really doesn't know it's not real.
Yeah. You know what? When I used to play hockey, I love like playing possum. It's not, like staying cool and staying in the pockets like one thing, but like it's kind of like when I would play hockey, there'd be somebody like on a breakaway and I'd start slapping my stick on the ice trying to chase him down as a defenseman. I'd be like, drop it. And then they would drop it and I'd take the puck and be like, you fucking idiot. So, I feel the same thing like when somebody's going for you, if you kind of are like, oh, and then you just fucking, but like really you're just like a wolf in sheep's clothing, You're just like, oh, fall into the trap,
I had a guy walking, we were at like a outdoor like midnight madness event, and this is in high school. We were drinking before we got there, but like there's no booze or anything at this event. All these people are standing around. I just see this guy from across the parking lot, and he's coming towards me like a fucking missile. And I'm like, this guy is coming to fight me. And he's so far away. He's like a football field away. I just go to one of my friends. I go, listen, this guy's coming, and he's going to try and fight me. So just play it cool. Get ready if he's got friends or whatever to grab someone. But they're like, nah. I'm like, no. I just feel it. He's coming. And it was so far away, and I couldn't believe it. But I'm like, I'm not going to make eye contact with him. I'm just going to load up a bomb just at my side, play possum, just like act like I don't see him coming. Sure enough, he gets closer and closer. He is coming for me. And I just reach right across, and I snatch him right by the fucking collar and wind up. And I get jumped from the side from one of his buddies, grabs my arm. Like, it just got, like, crazy. There was no – I didn't get punched or anything. Like, everyone jumped in because my friends knew that, like, something was going on. But it gets broken up. Next thing you know, they all come back. There's, like, fucking 40 of them now, and there's like 8 of us. We're about to get fucking killed. Somehow we talk our way out of it. We get in our buddy's van and we're driving out and we just beep the horn. Everyone just moons these guys. They're so fucking mad. Weaseled our way out of the fight.
That's such a fucking Porky's move.
Yeah. It's like an 80s fucking camp movie.
Yeah.
Oh man. But like literally like was just like
move.
Don't make eye contact with him when he gets close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's trying to jump me, but I'm going to sucker him.
Yeah. I
mean,
God,
that's crazy that the guy got your arm right before.
I know he caught it, dude.
I didn't see that guy coming, man. He was coming
where did he fucking
side.
materialize from? Yeah. So what about? Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was going to say. So what about like any fights that you've seen? Like where you grew up in what?
I grew up in Westchester. I grew up in Westchester County, and then I went to high school in Dutchess County. So Dutchess County, I was up there near like. I guess the town people would know if they listened to this, even though it was too north, what would be Poughkeepsie. But
yeah.
But I was up there in like the Fishkill, Hopewell Junction area from 8th grade to 12th grade, and then before that Westchester, and then after that right kind of back down to the city, and now back to Westchester where I live now. So I was always in a suburb.
So that's kind of is that suburb? Or is that a little bit more like country boys, kind of like?
No. Right where I am now, like where I live now, I live up in horse country now. Like where we live, like there's people that have horse farms, and I'm about an hour north of Manhattan. But no, where I grew up was more of like just suburbs. Like
okay. So Poughkeepsie's kind of a suburb, even though it's like 2 hours north of the city or whatever.
Yeah, Poughkeepsie. Well, I was a little south of Poughkeepsie. I just said that because I figured like that people would know that.
Gotcha.
But like I was like where I was at was probably like 130, 125, 130 out of the city for high school.
Right.
And then, but I was born in Yonkers, which is right by, and then I stayed up in that area for a while.
So what was that? What was that like growing up there? Was there a lot of scraps in that neighborhood? Like not really.
There was always the one or two kids in your clique that wanted to do that.
Right.
One night we were in the car, a bunch of us, my friend who was a big time fighter. This kid was fucking up seniors as a freshman. He was a tall Irish kid. He's passed on, rest his soul. But this was a bad dude. This was a dude that played for Syracuse in football. Then this dude was, and he was a good friend of mine. He was a year older, and and one night we were all out and we went by the mall, and there were a bunch of black dudes outside, and this is like 1990. You're talking 95.
Oh yeah.
And 95, 96. And
they didn't matter back then.
He had words. The window came down and there were words. And I'm in the back seat with two others. So I'm the third one back there. And him and the driver. And he had words and some racial things were said back and forth. And next thing you know, he gets hit. And I just remember his head in the passenger seat. And he just opened the door. This kid was a machine.
Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
I remember one time this kid drank like 3 40s. One of the sickest things I ever seen. He would like freestyle, dude. He would like freestyle rap. And one time we not to put 2 stories in one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He would he finished his 40 and he's all sick. He drank all night. Big tough kid. And he's like, yo, man, I'm freestyling in the bathroom. So me and him, he's like freestyling in the bathroom. And he just goes, hold up a second. And he just goes into the toilet. He's like, oh, he's just throwing up in the toilet. And this dude just wiped his mouth and went back to the freestyle. And I was like, what the, like, this is one of these dudes, right?
Yeah.
He gets out of the car. And it was like a movie. He starts teeing off and beating the shit. So for him and all 5 of us get out. And I'll never forget, I get out, this black dude pulled my hood over my head, kneed me in the face, threw me against the car. And then the next day, they were like, yeah. And then we all got out and Virzi started fucking people up. And I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
No, but no, man, I definitely, I've seen some fights. I had a buddy who we were at like a bar upstate New York, and he called everybody outside, and we all went outside like an old country. And they were literally like that. Some
squared up
one-on-one shit. And he hit the kid, and the kid started grabbing for like an invisible railing.
Yeah.
And then my buddy's like, I'm gonna do Roy Jones now, and started like dancing around. It was really nuts.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of friends like that. But I know this is going to sound crazy to say, all good kids. But when the alcohol came in, they were the ones that wanted to rock and roll, dude. Alcohol, I would say, was every time. Even when a kid tried jumping me in college because he thought I was somebody else, he ran out and goes, "It must be you." And I'm like, no. And it was all drinking.
Yeah. I bet you 90% of the fights that happen, period, are alcohol related. You know. Alcohol related between the ages of 17 and 23.
Yeah, and when you see those brawls at a sporting event, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it's either the opposing fan who's wearing the other jersey.
Oh yeah.
And somebody gets thrown, and then all of a sudden it's a whole thing. But it's all booze, dude.
Yeah, I was at a Bruins game, and I had a Leaf jersey on, and I was taking a piss, and I was at the urinal face against the wall, and some guy goes, yeah, you fucking Canadian faggots. And I just get, buddy, you want to get your head kicked in by a faggot without even like turning around to see who it was?
So
that would be, I was just like, yeah, I'll own that. But then you're going to own getting your head kicked in by a fucking gay Canadian, and your buddies are never going to let you live it down, you know?
Dude, that is so funny that you didn't even turn around.
Intimidation move.
Yeah. I mean, that's, that was me and my buddies growing up. Like, everybody were pretty good guys, but then once the liquor entered the situation, just all bets were off, you know?
Oh,
yeah. Dude.
Throwing hot dogs in car windows.
I got to tell you something, man. It's really an underrated thing. This is going to sound super corny on a fighting podcast, so I apologize. But it's a really underrated thing to go to bed sober and wake up sober and realize, like, somebody said something amazing where they were like, dude, it's was it Mark Twain or somebody said, why would you put a thief in your mouth if it's going to rob your brain, right? And it's so true. It's like, all of the bad decisions that I've ever made in my life, whether it would be fighting fraternity people that I'm just want to go there and have a good time, whether it would be even certain arguments with my wife or doing things. And I'm just like, dude, I'm glad that a lot of the shit that we're talking about now, it almost gives me relief that, because you got to be a real fuck up to be late 30s, 40s, going like, yeah, last night I almost beat this bitch, you know, and it's like,
whoa.
you can fucking chill.
Hold on a second, guys.
Sorry, Tyler, I don't know what your lifestyle is. I don't know.
Pretty
Oh,
tame.
it's true, man. It's true. Like I remember, and I quit drinking for that reason. I remember being like 26. And I moved away from Toronto. I used to roll with a couple of dudes. We'd go to the bar, and you know, chances are, if you didn't pick up a chick, and those chances were very high, we were probably going to get into a tussle. But then you're out in the world still drinking, carrying on like a jackass, and nobody's got your back. You end up in the wrong end of a lot of beatings, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was, you know, I'm in, you know, the United States by myself drinking crazy. I was like, dude, I gotta like cut this shit out and grow up, you know? And I think that's a big part of it. And you don't bounce back the same way either, dude. You're 40 years old, you know, getting into rumbles. You're waking up the next day fucking feeling it, you know?
My biggest fear is being that like older guy, like an adult who gets his ass kicked by a group of high school guys.
Oh yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, my worst fear is me running into me 20 years ago, like a Freedom 55 commercial, you know.
But the number one thing I want to do is beat the shit out of some high school guys.
Yeah, right. It's like going out and playing sports, and you're like, I just don't got it anymore, you know.
High school's near my house. They're always walking by. I'm like, I could fuck that kid up.
Dude, getting put to sleep by like a big 8th grader.
Yeah.
Just like
And you know it's going viral these days, dude. You do not want to be on the other end of that one.
Oh yeah, I watched the kid's dad get beat up. The kid went to my high school, but like this is like now, so it was like someone posted it up that's way younger than me, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh fuck. The dad showed up because his kid was getting in a fight, and then ended up like getting like outnumbered by all these high school kids and getting.
Oh man,
there's just something just unjust about it.
Dude, you have to leave as that father. You have to leave for a pack of smokes after that and never come back.
There's a few like elements to that situation where I'm like, okay, he's sticking up for his kid, but he's also being a dickhead.
Yeah,
so he kind of deserves his ass kicked, but I just hate the like not one-on-one situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a lot of.
Oh, dude. Speaking of that, I remember one time I talked a little shit, and I got called out for it. And I didn't, and it's funny you said that because I was like, "Fuck you," and he was being really mean to my friend, and then I realized, oh, this kid fights, dude. This kid fucking fights. And then they were like, "Yo, keep it one-on-one," and I'm like, "Oh shit, dude." Because like it was the thing where like me and my boys came out of a bar, and I'm like sticking up for my boy. And then it was like, fuck whatever happened with him and your boy. Now it's you and him. Now
it's you and me, right.
And they were like, yo, keep it one-on-one. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I didn't, you know, and then we ended up just talking. And I realized, like, oh, you didn't want any part of that.
Yeah. It's funny because there have been times where I've been so rip-roaring drunk that I've still figured out, like, there are still people I just don't want any part of. You know, like, my instincts have kicked in and shined through the blackout and saved me, you know. And other times where I got smoked.
I was just going to say, even in a blackout, there's a voice going, dude. No.
Just like from the depths, like pulling you back, you know.
There's been a couple where I've got lucky where I'm like outnumbered, but I've had to step up to, you know, 4 or 5 guys at once and, you know, bluff, basically. Talk tough so that they fucking don't fight me. You know, like get a little crazy. Yeah. And I'm so fucking lucky, man. Like you always just feel so good walking away from that. Oh yeah.
Dude, because this has happened to people. Thank God none of us, but imagine you square up and a dude's just like, nah, dude, I'm not fighting you. I'm gonna fucking stab you. And they pull out a knife, dude. Yeah. And that's when it's like, oh shit, like this thing's got to, like, like John said before, I'll take an L and go home and I'll live another. But like, if you want to fucking stick me with something, dude, and this thing ends here forever, it's like,
you know, or you know, you get into it with that group of 5, and you know, they're like, oh no, and then you know that's. One of these guys decides to jump on your head, and you're talking different for the rest of your life. I know guys on both ends of that equation, you know?
Have you had a knife or anything pulled on you, John?
No. I got bottled.
Yeah.
Like somebody broke a bottle over the back of my head, but
I
nothing.
had a knife pulled on me in a fight, and like I was fortunate that like I saw him go for the handle.
Yeah.
And he was wearing a puffy winter coat, so I just fucking jerseyed him, and he couldn't get any. He couldn't get any. Stupidest Canadian fight of all time. Like, what are you doing? Like, take that dumb fucking coat off.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
I knew.
It's all stuck in his triple goose.
Yeah.
Push it out.
It changes immediately your focus in the fight, where it's just like, okay, I was just trying to beat you up before. Now I'm trying to fucking kill you.
Right,
You're trying to kill me. So you just go like extra, you know, you got fireball power now.
Yeah,
just
well, it's survival
crazy.
mode, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy the way it like jumps you up the second. And if a guy kicks you in the face, it changes the fight too.
Dude, you know what I love about Canadian guys, and I figured this out about you guys because it took me a second, but I've traveled the country. I've met a lot of Canadian dudes, Canadian comedians. Everybody's got you guys wrong. Everyone's like, man, they're nice. They you know, they're a little softer. I go, no, dude. I go, they play possum. What you guys do is you guys take everything in and you'll be the nice guy. Oh, hey. And I know what you're thinking, and that you're a lot tougher than what people think, dude. I've seen it. I've fucking seen it.
Oh, I always say my buddies growing up are the same guys that'll hold the door open for you at 8 o'clock and then fucking kick you down the stairs at 2 a.m. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's great.
What about in comedy? Have you ever seen any tilts in comedy? Like you see like these stage fights or even like guys going backstage?
Did I see anything in comedy? There was a Christmas party in New York where somebody said something, and I remember just a scuffle, and somebody's like, yo, that dude just got kicked in the chest. I don't know who was involved. But it was actually a Caroline's Christmas party.
Yeah,
and I think words were said.
Yeah.
And I remember like all of a sudden it backed up, and it was like a push or then like a kick or something like that. But then you know how comedians are. Comics are like, oh, dude, I don't want to not work here. So
everything gets squashed, dude. It's like no witnesses, right? I didn't see anything. I don't want any problems.
No, so that one I kind of saw.
Right, in the peripherals?
Yeah, like you're just standing there, and then all of a sudden when you're at a party like that and you see something and then you hear about it. And then also, as far as being on stage, I got, I don't even know if I never told you. I probably never told you this because it wasn't a fight, so I would have been like, but anyway, I was in Indianapolis, and there was a guy heckling, and he was drunk, bad. I told the story on Bobby's podcast. He was drunk, bad, and there was a guest spot. There was a host, a guest spot, a feature, and then Mrs. Pat came in to do 3 minutes that she was doing for Last Comic Standing. So that many before me.
Right.
This dude is drunk for the host, and he's yelling. He's got a voice like this, and he's yelling, dude. Long story short, through all that shit, I looked at the owner. I go, it's going to be a fucking problem. 4 minutes in, I'm having a good time. There was a big hailstorm that day, and I played golf in Indianapolis. I was addressing the weather, and the guy said something. And I go, dude, what are you? And he was, no, I'm enjoying it, but this, and he's just trying to talk shit. He's just saying whatever. And I go, dude, you know what, man? And he was just really fucking up the show. And I go, you're a cancer, and you need to be cut out early, so you're done. You're going home, and
you cut out early. That's a good way to look at hecklers in general. That's just like a good ism, They're cancers that need to be cut out early.
Yeah, you're a malignancy of this whole body. And you need to be cut out because we can't let this thing multiply and spread.
Right, for the health of the show.
Yeah, for the health of the show.
Yeah.
And guys, he was in the front row. He was literally 10 feet from me. He was in the front row, and I looked at the people and I go, how the fuck can you bring a guy this drunk out? And he starts getting his jacket and he's like mumbling to himself. And this fucking dude picks up a Miller Lite bottle. Hand to God. I have it on YouTube. I never put it out there, especially then, because I didn't want that to be anything. Dude, this dude fucking Randy Johnson, the fucking Miller Lite bottle at my fucking head. They tried to stop him for assault, but he got in the car with his sister and left. And I fucking did like a thing like that. It hits against the wall. And as he's going out, you could hear him go, fucking call me a cancer. Like it got to him.
Yeah.
It really fucked with him. But he didn't come on the stage. But when he got real close and he threw something like that. But if he did come on stage, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Because then I never work there. Then I never work again. And then I look like all the clubs are going, oh, this guy's going to hit our patrons, you know?
Right. I know. I'm of the mind that you gotta, but but I've never been, but it's never, the issue's never been pushed. I've had a couple people stand and threaten, and I've just been like, dude, just so you know, this is what's going to happen. If you come up here, man, I am telling you, don't do it.
It's usually women that flip out on at me.
Yeah.
I don't have too many guys heckling me. So that's
I was in Philly doing a show, and I love Philly, and it was an all black crowd. And I got a line out there where I say something to the effect of like, I love the Muslims in Philadelphia because you guys are all smoking blunts and eating bacon sandwiches. Like, you don't take your Muslim hood that serious. I don't have to worry about anybody blowing anything up. And like the line always lands, but I was just eating shit that night, and it was a bunch of Muslims in there, and this woman just starts yipping, and she had like a fucking, like a, whatever that's called, the hijab, like, but just like the headwear. I said, hey, why don't you pull that down and cover your mouth?
Oh my God.
And and she stood up to whip a Heineken bottle at me, and her husband wrapped her up before she could get the Heineken off, and it just went clunk, and it like rolled into the aisle.
Wow.
And then I said, so I forget what it was, so long ago. I said one more comment to the husband, like, yeah, thanks, whatever I said to him. I got off the stage, and the promoter goes, hey man, I think you should get out of here right away. And then he goes, do I still got to pay you? I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, double. My life's a jeopardy.
Dude, I had a mob. I can't believe I forgot this. I don't want to say the club, but I was at a club on the East Coast, and it was early on when the club had opened, and I found out that people that they say this was connected to something, connected. And I'm on stage, and there were people in there that thought because they knew the owner and who they were and what they did that they could talk. And it was this guy's wife talking, and I'm fighting, dude. I'm throwing everything I got. Remember in fucking Major League Harris? Remember? He's like, I'm throwing everything I got at him, Skipper. I'm throwing, I mean, there's people talking over here. I'm dealing with that. There's people talking. I'm fighting. I'm getting laughs, but like there were literally like, one of those literally a comedy brawl.
Yeah.
And this woman's talking, and I finally calm everybody down over here. And now she's just talking, and she's talking. And I just looked over, and I go, man, what are you doing? And going through the stupid shit that comics say. Why would you think to talk like that? I go, you're talking. So I go, dude, so somebody put a dick in her mouth. I said. I do the rest of my act. Literally, when I said, I'm Paul Virzi, good night, I put the thing in. He's discussing, of course we're going to have words. And I get up and I walk, and he walks with me, and the whole crowd sees it. And I kind of go up against the wall, and he goes, well, listen, that's my wife, and you have to apologize. And apparently this guy was muscle for some, and he goes, no, that's my wife, and you're going to apologize. And I go, listen, dude, I'm doing my job. I don't want any. He goes, no, you're going to, and I see he's big, dude. He's got a scar on his face and shit. And she walks over, and she's like, nah, he doesn't have to fucking apologize. And in my mind, I'm just like, look, you know what? And then it got weird. People started coming, and I go, look, I was doing my job. I was trying to do my job. If I said anything to offend you, I'm good. I'm sorry, whatever. And, and then he was asking where I lived and where I was from.
Like you're going to tell him. Like you're just going to give your fucking license over to this goon.
So when I went to the fucking owner, I go, man, listen, they made me apologize. I mean, I have no problem, if I really, really, I'm going to get hurt, I'm gonna fuck it. I want to get out of here. So, and I go, and the guy's asking me where I live. Is the guy gonna come after me or something? And he goes, not if I tell him not to. Like that shit, dude. It was like that, and I just realized at that time, I go, this is the wrong dude. Like I don't need this dude, because what am I gonna do? No, I ain't apologizing for shit, and then fucking 10 guys. So I'm just like, you know, if I offended anybody, sorry. I did it in a very quick, easy way. And I got out of there because I you know, I had a little baby and at the time and my wife, and I'm like, dude, what am I, you know, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna do something. I'm not gonna follow my dream and get fucking killed because I was just fighting on stage.
Right. That's the hill you're gonna die on.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fight another day, man.
Right.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
And then when you're pulling away from the club, you fucking bust a mooner. like a fucking child.
Got the license plate on a fishing line, just roll it up.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. What about, I know you're a big sports guy. I was watching some baseball fights, and baseball fights are so fucking hilarious to me. How much cooler would baseball be? And maybe you don't think it is, but how much cooler would baseball be if they just let them go one-on-one at home plate, like until they gas out like a hockey fight? So fucking awesome.
What I said one time, I go, dude, I don't understand you. The guy's got a bat, you know, like my mentality was like, you got a bat. One of the best ones I ever saw. I don't know did you ever see the one where right when the guy got hit, he got hit by a pitch, he kicked the catcher in the chest and then ran to the mound?
That's the smartest thing I've ever seen.
It's the best. It's the best. It is the all-time best baseball fight. He gets hit, and in anger, as angry as he would be at the pitcher, in that same anger, kicks the catcher in the chest who has to fall now because the guy's squatting, so he has to fall.
And then he just fucking sprints at the mound.
Well, the catcher always comes from behind when you're like in the middle of the fight.
Dude, and he's probably talking shit the whole time, and then you get beamed. That's such a great move. That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent of the way of the gun when the guy punches the girl first and then starts going the husband.
The catcher ordered the hit. Yeah. That's why he kicked him.
I've actually watched a guy go out with the bat.
Yeah.
It's funny how things just totally de-escalate.
Change him.
Like, he was like calmly walking with it. So at first it wasn't like, and then all of a sudden like the pitcher was like, all right, maybe I don't. And then he ended up putting it down. But it was hilarious how it slowed everything down. Like, is this dude gonna really end his career right now?
Right. And maybe mine. The one I just watched, the pitcher hit Bean the batter. Nothing. He didn't rush him. The bullpen, or not the bullpen, the bench was talking so much shit that the pitcher charged the whole bench. It was
oh, I saw that. Yeah. I think I saw that one where the guy just lost his shit. Yeah,
lost it,
last
dude.
year.
And he got mobbed. But it was such a crazy thing to do, you know, like just to run at everybody. I had so much admiration for that guy in that moment.
That first punch is a dandy.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones ever was when Benitez, what was his name? Armando Benitez in mid-90s, late 90s, hit Tino Martinez in the middle of the back in a playoff game hard. And Darryl Strawberry was on the Yankees, everybody. And the Yankees just hopped over, and it was a melee, dude. It was like and it actually changed the series. Because there's nothing more gangster than when you get beamed and then you go yard. Nothing.
Yeah.
That's better than any punch back in the face, and then you just flip the bat and look at the guy, dude.
Oh yeah, like, dude! If you could do that,
to the ribs.
Hell yeah.
Strawberry could fight. He was always entertaining. I emailed him I want him on the podcast, man.
Yeah. We'll get one of these fucking.
Dude, Strawberry is an animal, dude, and I don't know if you guys know this story that he said on the Fan to Mike Francesa, but just to put into perspective, now he's religious and he's like a speaker, and you know he's really got his life together. But of course, what's it called? You're like, oh fuck him. I like him.
Boring.
But what was I going to say about
the story with Francesca?
Yeah, he's talking to Francesca. Oh, Nolan Ryan fight was great, but
anyway, yeah.
So he was like, 6 times cocaine, and he's on Francesa, and they're just talking, and everybody's talking shit about how is him and Dwight Gooden, like, even like enough is enough. These guys always fucking blow and partying and shit. And he just told this story, and I was just like, I'm never judging another dude again. He said that his whole life, right, he's talking about how his father was like, not only are you like, you're a piece of shit, you're worthless, you're going to be nothing. That's what his father was telling him. He tells a story. He goes, Mike, he goes, in 1986, the New York Mets team was the Beatles. He said, when we walked into restaurants and when we were in the city, it was shit got shut down. Because you got to remember, the Yankees for like 11, 12 years were really bad. And
right.
other than Don Mattingly, they didn't have anything. So it was the fucking Mets. It was Dwight Gooden. It was a young Strawberry, Keith Hernandez. And he goes, dude, we would shut places the fuck down. And he goes, and we're in game 2 of the World Series, Shea Stadium. And he goes, this made me just go, wow. He goes, I hit a home run. And I'm rounding second base, and I'm looking. I'm in Queens, and New Yorkers are going nuts. And he goes, and all I'm thinking about is that my father thinks I'm a piece of shit and I'm worthless, and I want to go leave this game and get high. And I was just like, imagine the fucking euphoric nirvana you feel when you hit a home run in a World Series
and the world is watching.
And he's just like, dude, I'm nothing. And he's just like, I just want to go do blow tonight, dude. And I was just like, wow, man, like to fucking be mentally there.
Yeah.
To be mentally there in that thing just made me realize, like, who the fuck am I to judge anybody?
Yeah, you know what? I guess it's good that he's got his life together. If you can't enjoy that moment, that pinnacle moment.
You're like, oh, dude, he became religious. Then you heard that. You're like, all right.
I know. Dude, that's probably the best moment in like 1,000 other people's lives. And he couldn't even enjoy it because he just wanted to go get high and split, Because we find shit wrong, right? Right.
I literally had I would do a big show when I was opening for Burr, I would do Carnegie Hall, had the chance to do the Garden twice and had amazing sets. I would always, on one of those nights or something, you would just in your mind, it was like, and I think that's why we do what we do. And it probably does come back to fighting, right? Like if I feel like truly happy people aren't really, you don't want to go to a bar to have a drink, which is supposed to be a nice festive thing.
Right.
And be like, dude, if I don't get laid tonight, I'm punching somebody in the face.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah, right.
Something wrong.
It all comes from the same place,
For us to, you stood on a truck, dude, recently. because you love it and you put yourself through that. But that takes a certain person who went through something to do that.
Right. And a need for validation and other people's validation,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was watching some soccer highlights. I was like, because I started watching the baseball fights, and I was like, what are some other like sports fights? Man, soccer fans, the toughest soccer fucking players. I'm not even saying they're not physically tough, but I watched some shit that I was crying. I was laughing so hard. At one point, a ref came over to a soccer player that was kind of like standing off at the sidelines and fucking like jutted him in the throat. Like, how you go like that up into the guy's throat, and the soccer player looked at him and like started crying, like he wiped his eye.
What?
What the fuck are you doing, man?
Seems like the only game where the fans are tougher than the players.
It is, dude. It is. It's like that in golf,
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's something that I've never seen.
A golf fight?
I've never seen golfers fighting on. I've seen NASCAR. I've seen a guy get out of his NASCAR after a guy like ruined the race for him and run up to the thing and fight. But I've never seen two golfers just fucking toe to toe on a green. That would be amazing.
Dude, yeah, I wonder if that exists, like somewhere, a clip of the golf fight.
I think guys have talked shit when they were paired with each other.
Right.
Like but I don't know if guys were like fighting, which would be amazing to see.
Probably over in England or Scotland, one of these fucking inbred lands.
For real.
All right, pal. Well, thanks for doing the pod, man.
Yeah, thanks so much.
No, dude, thanks for having me. I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. I'll do this shit. I'll talk shit all the time. I mean, I'm trying to think of other fights, but this is a great podcast, by the way, because
thanks.
It's such a unique it's such a unique thing to just be like, because everybody, oh my God. Do you have 1 minute or no?
Of course, yeah.
All right, dude. I'm at that same guy's house. Okay. The
Irish guy.
My buddy who passed away. And yeah, I'm at his house. And his dad was a big wig at, I want to say Pontiac or one of those GM. And they had a really nice house, and they had a deck. And he had siblings that were all older, and they had friends over. So he's like, my siblings. So there was like, now you got to understand, I'm 17 at the time, 17 years old. And there were probably people there in their 25, 26, 27.
Right.
There's some like Albanian guy outside on the deck talking to a girl, and they're getting into a heated exchange. I'm inside the kitchen talking to my buddy, talking to my friend. I'm in a really bad place as far as like drunkenness. Like it's starting to like, if I'm not at the blackout party yet, I'm like walking up the path.
Yeah.
It's getting great. It's
getting great.
I'm walking up to the door for the blackout party. I'm almost inside, and I'm getting hazy, and we're talking, and my fucking vision is like, I'm like, yeah. And these guys outside, and he was friends, and there was other friends of ours scattered out through the house. You know, people hooking up in rooms and shit. And this was one of the scariest things that ever happened to me, because I still think about it because of the days I was in. He walks out. This guy's probably, I think they said he was probably almost 30, Albanian guy, drove up from the city, and he's yelling at this girl. And I'm just sitting there talking. And when he walked in a rage to leave, he just goes, in some accent, what the fuck you looking at? And he knocked me out. He knocked me down though, but he didn't out of nowhere. And I literally, guys, I didn't feel it. All I remember, and I didn't get knocked out, all I remember was my friend going, yo, he just hit Paulie, this and that. And just everybody, the guy ran out of the door, he had like a Nissan 300, like and everyone's running, and it's this big thing. And I remember I was so out of it, and I just went down, and I was like the best way I could describe this was I was in a dream.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to his older sister, she goes, come here, you're going to lay downstairs. And I remember going, did I die? Am I? Where am I? And like, I was just, dude, it was so shocking because it just took me out. I was so drunk, and it was just a big foggy day. And I woke up the next day, and it was like one of the worst feelings ever that I had, and really scary because that guy was like, what if he stabbed me?
Yeah. I hate that he escaped. I hate that he escaped. Dude, that he got out of there in time. That little fucking weasel.
They were Albania. And the other people in the rooms were like, "Where is he?" And like, but like almost like they didn't know. It was just a brutal thing. Yeah, he got away. So that guy, hopefully that guy made that mistake somewhere else and paid for it.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. That shit catches up with you eventually.
But that's what I mean. Guys like that, if it wasn't that night, that's coming again.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to hold up the closeout.
No.
It's awesome.
It's all good. It's all good.
The stories, the better, man.
That's it. That's right. And we like the losses.
Yeah. No, like I said, I gave you a good one at the beginning, but I've definitely gotten the shit kicked out of me a couple times.
Oh yeah. Me too. I'm about 16 and 15, or maybe 15 and 16, depending on who you ask.
You know, a guy loves to fight when he's like, number one, has a podcast about it.
Yeah, right.
Number two has got his record. And I know you got like 16, 15, and then there's a circle with a maybe.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like, oh, but I did kind of sucker shot that guy.
I had a buddy behind me. He was scared.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, all right, cool, man. Well, thanks for doing it. What are you doing right now? What are you plugging? Anything?
Well, right now, we just launched the YouTube channel, which we started during the pandemic, which is going really well. It's got stand-up clips. It's got clips of the Virzi Effect podcast. Check that out. And I'm going to be doing a web series, which will also be on the YouTube channel.
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, just get me on Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff, man.
Right on, brother. All right. Thanks for doing it, man.
Hey, man. Take care. Tyler, thanks, pleasure to meet you, brother.
Yeah, nice to meet you, too.
John, I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, bro. Thanks.
All right, later.
Bye.